seeing the market opening and seeing the possibilities in terms of technology actually made sense for me. This is a perfect time if you want to build an AI. AI is opening so many doors right now. Like, just possibilities are endless. Even when you release a product, you see many competitors. You should just stick with it and just make sure that you keep going. I love bootstrapping. I think bootstrapping is the way to go if you want to do this long term. I guess if you see this as a journey, I would say you have to be really sure about your product idea.
Well, thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me on the show.
I think I want to start all the way back at the beginning. I think entrepreneur journeys are fascinating, and I think a lot of who we are shaped as entrepreneurs is based on where we come from, what we do. So you're Turkish, and you grew up kind of in rural Turkey. Can you talk a bit about that, and then transferring over to New York and getting into the tech world?
Yeah, I was born in Turkey and just went to school in Turkey, but I went to the U.S. For college, and when I graduated, I had the passion to start my business, but I didn't have the confidence. So that's why I started working for a media company in New York. So I worked there for 5 years before I started Jotform. So yeah, I mean, growing up in Turkey, it was kind of like I didn't actually have like a computer. Like, I remember like when I went to the middle school, the school I went to actually had like a computer lab. This is 80s, I guess. Yeah, and I actually like, and there was this class, like there was this weekend class, and it was programming, and I started going there, and just like that was the first time I was using a computer, but at the same time I was actually programming in BASIC. It was a programming class. So it was incredible, like just like that, like really impressed me, and I remember that
So
like I
first of all,
was the
in
whole
middle
week.
school, if you're going to school on weekends, like there's clearly an attraction there. So what was so incredible about it? Like what were you like, oh, I really want to use computers and this is my opportunity? Or was it, I'll try this and then you just programming opened up your mind? Like what was it that drew you to it?
I don't actually remember what drew me into it, but I guess in the 80s, personal computers came out. The Steve Jobs and Bill Gates, and like just I guess I was following the news or something.
Hmm.
And there was this, and the computers actually was like this DOS operating system. Like, there's no like Windows. It's just all black screen, and I would actually write code in BASIC, but that was really exciting for me. Like, just the whole week, I was actually thinking about like what code I could write next week, like just next weekend, right? I was just so excited about that, and you know, uh, I dreamed about like doing different kind of codes, stuff like that. So that's kind of like that actually got that that passion actually started for me at that time. And for a long time, I didn't actually have a computer, and yeah, so it was kind of like I couldn't, I had that passion, but there was no way to actually use that passion, like do something, and that's why I wanted to study computer science. I guess I was reading the news because I remember when I was in high school, I actually asked, I told my father that I'm gonna be I'm gonna study computer science, computer engineering, and I'm gonna be rich. Like, I was talking about Bill Gates, or and all the people who were like really becoming successful in the computer world. And there was something he told me that really kind of made a mark in me. And he told me that engineers don't get rich. Business people get rich. Businessmen get rich. Business people get rich. And that was like, and I thought that, yeah, that didn't make sense to me. Like, at that time, like, I didn't really like the answer because for me, like business people were like boring and business
Yeah.
was boring and like just
Wear suits and
yeah, I mean,
sit in meetings.
just it wasn't something that I was interested in. I was interested in basketball, computers, programming, not business. But that actually kind of changed when I was in like in the college in the US, and when I was studying computer engineering, and I was writing these open source products, and people were using them, and that's when I understood that actually it's not just about writing code or engineering. You have to kind of listen to people, listen to customers, listen to users of your products, and you have to build a product. And you have to be like a business person. And that's when I knew that, like, okay, uh, I want to, like, my passion is not really coding. My passion is building a product, building a good product.
Mm.
But to build a good product, what I need to learn is not that much engineering. I'm already kind of good at engineering. I like engineering, but I also need to learn like the business aspect. I need to learn marketing. I need to learn, customer support, like learn how to kind of talk to people, right? It was different. And that's actually when I start thinking, okay, that comment by my father actually really had an effect on me. And then I started thinking about, okay, I'm gonna start my business company, but I had no confidence in me. Like just I found a job, and it was amazing because this is like 2000. I graduated in 2000, and this is the time like web, the online. Right, the internet was actually becoming growing. There was the bust of the internet, like the companies. But if you look at in general, there was this it was great time for to do something on the internet. I was really excited about that, and I was really excited that like I was actually working for this online media company, and we had like over 100 websites, and like we had editors that I was working with. I was building websites, I was building products, so I learned so much, and I worked there for 5 years. And one of the things that people ask from me, like all these editors, they were constantly asking me to build forms. And like they were asking me to like build a like contact form, payment form, questionnaire, like contest entry forms, like contest voting, surveys, polls, all kinds of forms. I didn't even know like forms were so big. Like there was like so many types of forms, and I was actually looking for products to use. Like I was actually looking at like all these products, maybe open source products, things like that, and they were kind of terrible. There was SurveyMonkey, but that was only for surveys, so it didn't really help
Hmm.
us much. So that's actually when I knew that I had to like this is a really good idea to build my own startup. There is like a big available market for forms, and that's when I knew that I had to like this is a good idea. And it still took me a long time to start my company. And 2005, I quit my job and started working on Jotform.
What was that gap, right? So you said it took you a long time to kind of get to the point. You talked about how you wanted to be an entrepreneur and build a product, but you didn't have the courage straight out of college. So how did you get to that point of finally saying, okay, I'm going to quit, I'm going to do it? Or did you start building beforehand? But that gap, right, of going from employee to entrepreneur, it's a scary gap to make. Some people make it, some people don't. Some people make the jump and fail. So what was it that got you to the point of saying, you know what, I'm going to go and pursue this full time?
I think it's just by myself, kind of constantly educating myself about business, about marketing. Right, I was reading all these blogs, I was reading all these books, and I still had these open source products that were actually kind of like free open source products that were actually being used by a lot of people. I also started developing these like premium versions of these products. So I was actually also selling them. I remember like, in the morning I would actually like answer my customers, like, and then go to work. And at night when I came back, like I would have customers to answer. So I kind of like on the weekends I would develop my product further. I would actually do marketing. So it's just like I guess I needed that much amount of time to be able to really get well about like marketing, customer support, product, all these books. But also, I think there was something special about 2005. So in 2006, Gmail came out, and it kind of changed everything for a lot of people. And I was like reading all these like different communities, blogs. At that time, right, there was like instead of social media, there was blogs, and like I also had a blog, and people actually wrote on blogs, and just like you tweet each other, people would actually write a blog post and then link to the other blog posts, and then there was this community of bloggers, and so there was this like new excitement about the possibilities. And the title of my blog was "Web Apps Are the Future," because at that time, like when you needed to install software, like you would actually install software, like everything you had to do, you would actually install software on your computer. Today we have very few software, right? We install Zoom, we install Chrome, and that's pretty much it, right? Everything else is on the browser. But at that time, everything was software based. So it's kind of similar to how we are talking about AI today. Everything like just like there was this excitement about the possibilities of building software on the web as a web app, and Gmail was this shining example of what you could do on the browser as opposed to like installable software. So like that actually increased my excitement because like there wasn't a term called SaaS, but SaaS really excited me. It wasn't called SaaS, but it was called like web apps. Like it was sometimes called single page apps. Just having these products working online on browser. And that's why I decided that like just this is the time. And I could actually build a product that could use like drag and drop and everything to build an online form. And funnily, like I started working on Jotform 2005 summer, and I released it 2006 February. And like when I released that in 2006, like so many competitors actually came out. Even in February 2000, the month that I came out, like there were like two competitors. They were similar. I think Jotform was better, but they were similar. So I think it's just like I want to think that I really had this amazing idea, but if you think about it, like there were all these like 4 or 5 different products that were similar to Jotform. They all came out in 2006. This is kind of similar to how like all these scientists like they discovered something, but at the same time like many scientists discover similar things. I think it's similar to that. The environment was ready. Like something that wasn't possible before became possible in 2006, in 2005, and I was still early. I was still thinking like, hey, so many computers. Maybe I should have started earlier. But I think it was still early. Today, like there are like maybe hundreds of form builders, and Jotform is the market leader. And so I think that was a good time. And so I think it's just it was a time to build a product like that. And for me, I actually felt that timing. I felt that this is a good time. I can do this, and I can be the person who built this. And I know that there is a need for this because I'm working with all these editors, all these people in our company who need forms, and I'm just building them, and also other people will need forms. So seeing the market opening and seeing the possibilities, like in terms of technology, actually made sense for me. And the same way, like if I was like, this is a perfect time if you want to build an AI. This is a perfect time to build startups because AI is opening so many doors right now. Like just possibilities are endless, and there is like so every kind of business or like every kind of process or workflow you can think of. it can be done with AI. Just nobody actually has built an AI product for that. And that's why, like, just like, I think, there are times that actually that you can find opportunities to build startups, and you can build startups anytime, but those times are actually great to start a type of business or type of product. And that was another time that was really good for SaaS businesses.
Yeah, I love that story, and I think it's also you're not changing the narrative after the fact of saying, "Oh, well, I had the idea, and then it was just a rocket ship, and there was no competition." But it's literally in the month that you launched, you said there are multiple
Yeah.
competitors that all launched. What was that mindset with that? Was it, "Hey, this is validating because it clearly shows that there is a demand," or was it discouraging and saying, "Oh shit, I have all this competition. How am I going to survive and make this work?" And
I mean, the one of the startups that came out the same month was Woofu, and this product was actually, I think that was like the second batch of Y Combinator. And these guys actually were really strong. And like I was alone, and these
Mhm.
guys actually like great designers. They have like this newsletter of 150,000 designers, which who are like really influential when you think about like which form to use on your website. Of course, you're gonna ask your designer, and so these guys were really strong. Like Paul Graham was actually linking to my, Paul Graham, like he's like my like top person that I read. Like there was Joel Spolsky and Paul Graham, like I read the most as blogs, and he was actually linking to my competitor, and he was actually like being an advisor and like giving money to them, and so it was kind of like a little bit scary, but I felt like I really had a good product, and I and I thought that I'm just gonna move forward, and just no matter what happens, that I'm just, and people were using my product. So I think that's
That's
another thing.
helpful
Like
too.
if
Yeah.
I actually created the product and if no one used it, I would have tried for a year probably, but I would have given up. But like I just released it as a free product because I wanted to get from those open source products. What one thing that I learned was like to be able to build a great product, you have to get like all these customer feedbacks, user feedbacks. And the way to get user feedbacks is you need to get people to use your product. And the best way to get people to use your product is to have a free product.
Hmm.
And I just made it completely free. And I said, okay, in the future we will have limits. We are gonna have the paid version, but for the first year it's all free. Hey, use it. And I had this public forum where I provided support. So everybody saw that like there was this developer who was like constantly answering questions, like no matter like when someone actually reported a bug, like an hour later I would reply, hey, it's fixed now, check it out now. Someone requested a feature, a couple of days later I would come back to them and say, hey, I built that feature, you can start using it now. And people actually saw that, and there was this community, and there was like these threads where people actually like commented and wrote to each other and helped each other. So that was really cool. And so when I actually released the premium version a year later in March 2006, that I already had like 15,000 paid users, 15,000 free users, and 500 of them actually upgraded to the paid
Wow.
version. So that was really cool because that actually proved to me that there was this business. It was slow growth. It was going to be a slow growth, and it was a slow growth. The first 5 years of my business, I was growing just one person a year. 2006 September, I hired my first employee. I hired my second employee 2007, and just like that, like the first 5 years, just we were growing by one employee. If you compare to the last 5 years, we have been growing like 100 employees per year during the last 5 years. So we were like, so right now we are like 700 employees, and 5 years ago we were only 200 employees, and we have been growing in 100 employees during the last 5 years. And so I think this is the nature of sales. It starts very slowly. Like it's like all this like just helping every individual, every user, like your life depends on it, and try to keep every user in the beginning. And but it's gonna snowball in time, but it takes very long time to create that snowball, and you have to keep going, and you have to keep fixing your product. And during these like 19 years that we have rewritten Jotform like 4 times, and always improving the product, and just kept our eye on the on the product, on the service, to make sure that we are providing good service. And that actually created the snowball to be able to grow to 25 million users today.
I think that's such a incredible story and example of compound growth of really being able to kind of start with 500 paid customers and 15,000 customers in year one, nurture them, cultivate them, support them, respond to them, engage with them, and then getting to 25 million. But it's not this rocket ship story that we all want it to think it to be. It's 19 years of you just every day showing up and your team showing up and putting in that effort in that cycle. I think one thing that's very unique about Jotform and about your journey and your approach is that you've never taken any outside capital. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's all bootstrapped. From the early days, it was all my. I started with my savings, and I hired my first employee with my savings. And after that, just I had this rule that I will only hire an employee if I have a 1 year's salary for that employee in the bank. And I kept that rule until like still today I keep that rule. That's actually how I sleep well, and that's how we never like 19, during these 19 years we never actually did a layoff or anything like that. Like because it's just like I'm not a big risk taker. I'm not a risk taker at all. I'm not good at poker. I prefer sleeping well, and make sure that we have a good team, good culture, and like just we grow slowly. You know, if we get more customers, if we get more revenues, we are gonna grow bigger. If we don't, hey, no problem. We can even go smaller. Like if at some point we our growth stalls or something, right? We could always so just having that approach. So I have two rules. The first one is that the one that I mentioned, having like 1 year salary for every employee in the bank. And the second rule is having these 25% gross margins. And in the early days, I would do that by just looking at my bank, like just, hey, last month I earned this much, and I spent this much, and I made sure that there was always this
Really
25%
simple.
between them. Like just if I spent $100, if I earned $125, I made sure that I never spent more than $100. And in the early days, I did that in a spreadsheet. Today, I do that. Like we have this whole finance team who does that and sends me like monthly email report. And just I still want to make sure that we keep those rules. And that's I think that's great because like our customers are actually kind of deciding on how much growth we should have, and like they are kind of like voting with their hard-earned cash. And I think that's much more valuable than like with the investment. It's just not very clear that what you're building is what people actually want, or if you have a service, do you really provide a good service so that they are actually staying with you? Because the snowball effect is all about retention. Like, do you keep your customers? If you don't keep your customers, you cannot have that snowball effect. So you have to have like a good service. So SaaS is not just about having a good product. It's also about having a good service. Do you provide good customer support? Do you have a reliable service that's like working all the time and not getting broken down? Things like that, being secure, safe, and all those things. So just all those things. 19 years. It was a long journey. Yeah.
Yeah, but a successful one, clearly. And I think also one of the pieces that maybe would be interesting to jump into is also the culture that you've been building. I know you took a 3 months paternity leave with the birth of your child, or one of your children. I found in my research, and it sounds like you really have built this balance of work and life, which I know we talk a lot about, but then there's also a lot of talk from Silicon Valley and around the world about founder mode, and it's go, 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 and it's raise a bunch of capital and burn fast and try to see if you can achieve massive scale. So how did you build your culture, your company in this world where a lot of talk about startups and eventually what turned into SaaS, but startups in general is, hyper scale, hyper growth, hyper, and you're kind of taking the long game of slowly and steadily, making sure that you have time off and you don't burn out. So how did you balance building your culture in this noisy world of, the startup culture, so to speak?
Um, One of the things that I discovered while building Jotform was like to have a good culture. Like we built this teams culture. So Jotform is like this company of teams that actually makes the management much easier because and this happened like when we were around like 15 employees. I think that was like around 2014. We had like 15 employees, and we were still a small team. But at that time, like I didn't know how should a like a bigger company should behave. Like so in the early days, it was very easy. Like just like the first employee, we would go to lunch together. We would discuss everything. Like we were friends. Like the first 5 employees, we were friends. Like we had this small office space, we had this whiteboard. We would always discuss in Jotform and coming up with ideas and build a good product. But when we were 15 people, actually like didn't know how to manage them. And what turned out was like everybody was actually working on different things. Nobody knew what everybody else was working on. So this resulted in like kind of lower quality. Things were coming out, but they weren't great, and there was like deciding priorities was hard. Like organizing them was hard. So right at that around that time, I was also reading about this, lean startup. Eric Rice. Before he had his book, I was actually reading his blog and learning so much from it. And I was like, when I actually read about the cross-functional teams, that actually reminded me like when we were like this 5-person team, we had a designer, we had a front-end developer, we had back-end developer. I was kind of like the business, person who was also doing marketing. So just like I was, like I thought that okay, that's the good model. We have to go back to that. So right at that time, like we were moving to new office space because we were growing. So I hired an architect and I said, okay, we are going to have these small teams, which should not exceed 6 people. So make us like these like glass office spaces and beautiful office spaces for small teams. So that's how we actually started that team culture. Our teams were actually sitting on their own rooms. They had their own like whiteboards and like working together in a single project, single team, single project. Together as a team, coming together, discussing things, just like how we worked when we were this like small team, when we were like 5 employees. So that actually really worked, and today it still works. And today, when we want to do something well, we say, okay, let's do that. Let's if we need to create like form templates, we build a form templates team that's cross-functional. Maybe someone is doing like business research, someone is actually like designing beautiful forms, and someone is actually building those forms, right? So like we still do that cross-functional small teams approach, and that actually allowed us to grow and without losing that team culture. So that was about the culture, about the life balance. Usually, like I just 2 years ago I had my third child, so Usually when I have a child, I take a break, like 3 months break, and sometimes even more, and that's actually kind of becomes a turning point for me because to be able to take time, I look at what I'm doing and I'm looking at like what can I delegate. The first, like on my second child, when I took the time off, uh, I actually that's when I actually like got someone like I told him like, okay, you are gonna become my COO, you're gonna become the chief operating officer, and you're gonna take everything away from me. You will do everything I do, and I'm gone for 3 months. I actually never visited the office during these 3 months,
So
and
truly,
just
truly off.
what's that?
You were truly off. You were truly kind
Yeah,
of
I was
unplugged
truly off.
during this time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it worked. Like, and when I came back, I said, okay, hey, you still keep those things as much as possible, and I will try to, I will work on more important stuff, different stuff, like just stuff that can actually make it bigger impact, as opposed to like there was a lot of like, and especially on my third child, I experienced that more, right? Before I had my third child, like I turned into this, even though I had a COO, I turned into this like glorified administrator that like like I was doing like so many meetings, I was approving things, like I was just doing so many things. I didn't actually enjoy them. Even the stuff that I really enjoyed, like because like I was tired from meetings, I didn't really enjoy them. But when I took the time off, like I really started looking at like I didn't want to go back to that, and that's when I decided, okay, this time I'm really when I come back, I'm just gonna focus on a few things, and today I'm just focused on, for example, the AI product that we are building. So when I came back, I actually focused on five different things every day of the week. I would actually like just focus on those things, and I told my CEO the same thing. Okay, I came back, but assume that I didn't came back. I'm still away. Just take over everything, and I'm gonna work on these five things. But then, like, I did that for a while, but then I discovered that okay, there is this one thing that I should be really focused on. This is big, and today I'm just focused on this AI product, and just I think it's because my title is founder and CEO, but I always assume that the founder title is about the past. Like, hey, I'm a founder. I founded the company. That's why I have that part of my title. But when I was actually away while taking time off, that maybe the founder title is not about the past. Maybe it's about the future. It's about funding the future of our company, our product, our culture, our team. How can I do that? Like, how can I actually become this founder so that I can design the future of our company? I can design the future of our product. Like, I can just focus on the future. What if I did that? That would actually make a bigger impact. And that's what I did. Like when I came back, I focused on five things, and then I reduced that to like a single thing. Right now, I'm just focused on Jotform AI, Jotform AI agents projects. And a year and a half ago, like I started this project with like three AI engineers we had. They have been doing all this machine learning to catch like spammers, phishers, like we have been doing AI for a long time at Jotform, but like mostly for internal stuff, like those kind of like fishers, things like that. But I gathered those three engineers and I told them, okay, we are gonna do AI, and I have a couple of ideas. I have a few ideas, but we are gonna see how it goes. And that project started with three engineers. Today turned into a much bigger product with 120 employees,
Wow.
or 20 teams working on different parts of the product, and became this really exciting product. And like just we are going to release this product in February 2025, in like a couple of months, and really excited about that.
Is February a particular? Is it because you launched original Jotforms in February as well, or is that just coincidence?
Wow, I never thought about that. That wasn't really the reason.
Yeah.
Usually, what happens is that initially we were thinking we were gonna launch this in like November, but then like we got closer to the launch, and like we were still in the discovery. Like every day we were discovering something new. Like we were discovering, wow, we could also do that. We could also add like phone. Like our agents can also talk on the phone. Like, and we were the launch time was approaching, and we were still in the discovery mode, and we said, okay, let's postpone this. But what happens is that for launches, December and January is like that time because
Right.
it's just like holidays and all those different things, and so people taking time off. So February is usually like when we do launches in the new year, it's usually February. That's how we decide. But yeah, I like that. Like it's like it's the birthday of Jotform is
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
we are
Birthday
launching
month.
and usually like we launch all most of our major projects, most of our major updates in February, so it's kind of like a birthday celebration. But
That's awesome.
thank you for bringing that to me. Like I never thought about that. Yeah,
Of course, I'll try to ship you guys a cake on in February when you launch or something.
yeah,
Um,
cool.
with the birth of your children, and also kind of talking about Jotform AI, which I want to get more into, but just your role, constantly reinventing, and you use these major milestones in your life with the birth of your children to say, what am I doing? What do I not want to do? And then what do I want to start doing next? And I think that's a really interesting idea. Just whether it's based on an external event or internal, having these periods of reflection and saying, let's reinvent my role, reinvent myself. My question for you in all of that is, we talked, I think, before we started recording about how, maybe part of not fundraising is because you like having control. You like being that entrepreneur where you can really craft and guide the vision. But obviously to scale, you have to rely on other people. You had your COO, you started giving responsibilities to them, and you've kind of taken more and more off of your plate as you scale, as you need to, so that you can focus on this founder path, the AI product, Jotform AI. So what's your relationship been with delegation, with giving up control through the years, both, early days? How did you start saying, oh, I can't actually do everything? And maybe that was employee 12 or 15 or 50. And then even now, you're still continually redefining, well, where do I need to delegate? How do I delegate? How do I do that well?
I think I actually like the founder mode discussions, and Brian Chesky was Brian Chesky the Airbnb. Yeah, how he's talking about the founder mode and how he's like really involved. Yeah, yeah, it's very similar. Like I'm actually meeting those 20 teams every week. I'm also meeting with the growth teams who are kind of working on the launch and the doing preparing for marketing and things like that, and doing early marketing research, and the marketing team as well. Like I'm very involved, but I'm very
And sorry,
involved.
are these the 20 teams relating to the AI,
Yes.
Jotform AI? Okay.
So what I discovered was I cannot just be involved with everything, but I can pick one thing, and that's the great part. Because when I'm picking that one thing, I'm picking the most important thing. Like, what's the biggest opportunity for our company?
Is it
What
most
can
important or most
actually make
exciting or both?
huge change for our future?
How much of it is picking what is most important versus also what's most exciting to you, or are they the same thing?
I think it's the same thing because it's. I think it's about like. I guess like if I was focused on like revenues, if I was focused on like different things, the most important thing would be very different. Like I will be interested in like sales, things like that. But because I'm like passionate about product, I'm more like excited about the future of our product, future like what we can build next that can actually make a bigger impact for our users and for for the world and for for others. That's why, like, what I discovered is like I'm just focused on a single product or single focus, but I'm really focused on it. And I'm obviously not building, like, I'm not writing code, I'm not building the product, but I'm actually meeting with all the teams that are actually working with this, and then like just spending like 15 to 20 minutes with them and doing a review. And that's actually something I learned from Apple. There's a book called Creative Selection, uh, and in that book, actually, it's like it's written by the person who actually came up with the keyboard we are using today, and he
Oh wow.
also like the the iPhone, the virtual keyboard, and also like the first version of Safari. He built that as well, but he was he's also describing how like Steve Jobs did all these reviews. Uh, Obviously, I don't want to be as tough, like as rough as Steve Jobs, but basically, what I'm doing is like I'm actually meeting them every week, and just this allows me to kind of like share my opinions about like what they should be doing, but also like they're kind of doing a demo about what they are doing. I'm giving them feedback, and this is actually this allows us to like move forward. But still, like I'm not really micromanaging them. Like the teams are the product teams or the AI teams that are working on this. They still have like their independence. They have their own team needs. They have their own projects, and but I'm kind of giving them my feedback, and that weekly cycle also like kind of creates this. They have to show me something, and kind of it's kind of creates this deadline for them, and then when they come in front of me with what they have been working on, they try to finish that up before they show it to me. So that this also creates this cycle of continuous deployment, continuous improvement, continuously like kind of we have beta users continue to deploying the new features to the beta users and seeing their response, getting their feedback. So it's this kind of this is really exciting for me because I'm kind of like we are creating this new product that's really exciting, and we are seeing like beta users really use this product, and just yeah, this is the I think it's very similar to Brian Chesky's approach to like the founder mode, where he's like very focused on the feature of the product, but I'm less focused on like everything on the product, but I'm more focused on the feature of the product, like what's going to be the next big thing for us, and working with the teams on that.
Can you give a sneak peek or kind of talk about Jotform AI,
Yeah.
things that you've learned along the way? I mean, AI is such an
Hmm.
ever evolving, Gen AI specifically,
Yeah.
but ever evolving tech space. In the past 2 years, we have a lot of hype. We have a lot of, wrappers around ChatGPT, which maybe are dead companies that can't raise anymore because they're not differentiated. But then there's also multi-agent architectures. There's a lot of power that's reducing the barriers to prototype and build code. So what's been your approach to building Jotform AI? What are you guys working on? What can we expect in February?
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, Jotform is about forms, and people use forms because they have this workflow, they have a business process, uh, and that needs to be kind of performed, and the request is kind of made by the person who fills out the form. So it's uh, we have a saying at Jotform. We say that every journey starts with a form, and people fill out forms not because they just want to fill out forms, because they want to be able to like make a registration, request something, apply for something, buy something. Like just there's like so many things they can do, but that's the first step, and then there's after that there's like many steps involved. So people are trying to accomplish things, and and Jotform kind of allows people to accomplish those things, like automate those processes with forms, so that people can actually start that journey with the forms. So what we imagined that, like, what if we could replace forms with an AI agent? And we made it really visual. Like, this is like, we really have this, like, person, like, they're like, you can kind of generate your own agent, but this agent has kind of like a personality that, you can talk to it over chat or over phone, or different ways. And when you talk to the agent, basically you can fill out a form. Like, the agent can conversationally ask you questions on the form and get your answers. But it doesn't only just fill out forms, but it can also answer questions about like, provide customer support. It can provide sales. It can provide information you need. It can kind of take actions as well. Like, if you need to make an appointment, if you need to send a message, it can actually do those things for you. And we are building all these additional features as well. So the basic idea is that, imagine a feature where every organization, every business, even every person actually has their own agents. And these agents can actually talk to other people on their behalf. And just like forms, how forms actually, like, allow people to kind of get in contact with the with the organization or business or person, the agents would actually do much more than what forms do. The agents can actually answer their questions, provide support, provide sales, and, like, provide all the information they need about the company. And this is, and we are thinking about this in terms of, like, the small guys. Like, Jotform has always been this great product for the small guys, like these small businesses, or like these, like, this person who might be in a larger company but just trying to accomplish stuff on their own. So they can just go to Jotform and quickly create a form and start using it, right? It's an easy to use no code product. And so this allows anybody, like, if you're a small business that need to kind of like, service all these clients, do sales, do customer support, answer their questions, these agents can actually, like, help you with that. And let's say you're a school administrator, and, like, let's say you're organizing this like, summer class, right? Summer school. And so you have to answer, like, so many questions. People need to register for it. Like, if you try to do that manually, like, on top of all the things you have to, like just talk to, like, so many people. What if you had this, like, either like, this agent that kind of helps you, represents you, or you just say, okay, hey, we have this summer school AI agent that can actually help you with everything. Talk to the agent, but if you still need help, I'm still here, but you can just go and talk to the agent first, and it can do everything, answer your questions. It can take registrations, provide information, and then the parents, they can go start talking to the agent. The great thing about this is, like, we also built the phone version. So this means, like, let's say I'm a parent who's very, like, still thinking about the summer school at 3 a.m. I can just call up the agent at 3 a.m. I don't have
Always
to wake
available.
up anybody. And this is one thing that we discovered while building this product. People are actually happy to talk to AI, because AI is actually better than like, people, because you don't have to worry about like, making them feel bad. Like, you can just ask the same question 10 times, and the AI agent is not going to get upset. Or most of the time, you're not going to worry about, like, just asking too many questions and, like, taking their time or something.
There's no social embarrassment
Yeah,
with
there's no
with AI. It's just
social
okay.
embarrassment. I
Yeah.
agree. Yeah. And actually, people like talking to AI agents because it's like there's no pressure.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
just that's what we discussed with beta users. And you can just ask about the school summer class, summer school, and ask their ask the dates, maybe register for it, maybe make changes on your registration. Just do all these things. And the great thing is like uh, this can be accomplished by this school administrator very easily, just using the Jotform AI Agents product that's going to come out in February, and just enter information, all the information they have, and like they can actually see all the conversations. And if they see an AI agent making a mistake, they can provide additional feedback. So we made it so that you're actually like the owner of the person who is managing the AI agent can actually also talk to the AI agent as a manager, right? You can have like one-on-one, and the AI agent will come to you and tell you, "Hey, I was talking to someone and they asked me this question, and I couldn't answer that. How should I answer that question?" And kind of like that, it's actually you are training it in a conversational mode
Mm.
as
Hmm.
well, and you can watch all those conversations, and if you see problems, you can give feedback to your AI agent. It's really cool. It's just we are kind of like disrupting our own business. This is kind of this could replace forms because the AI agent can also take information on the forms. Um, so yeah, this is a really exciting product that's gonna. I feel like it's gonna help also people with their busy work.
Yeah, it's a design pattern that, because I'm in the agency space, we get to build a lot of different technology. And one design pattern that we keep seeing over and over again is agents. And agents, I think the way in which I like to describe them is just imagine having an army of interns that work 24/7, and you still need to manage them, you still need to kind of check in with them, but it's a way of interacting that's just far more analogous to how we currently interact with other humans. And so moving towards this world where a business can have multiple agents that go out and do things. And then also at some point, I think consumers will have an agent. So I'll have an Elijah agent that can go out and fill out my form, but it won't be a form. It will just be talking to the school administrator agent yeah, it can gather information, but it can also answer questions, but it can also maybe escalate things. It can also maybe there's a bunch of different things that it can do, right? And you can talk over text, you can talk over phone, you can maybe talk over email, maybe talk over SMS, you can do a chatbot. But it's this kind of maybe it's not the most sophisticated, but the AIs are going to get better. But it's this agent that represents the school or the teacher that kind of built the form. And it's really an abstraction above form because the data collection is just one piece of it. And we're going to have this world where we're going to have all these assistants talking with all of the different companies and groups that we want to interact with, talking with the assistants of those organizations, and like you said, just remove a lot of the busy work for people. That's very
Yeah,
cool.
I definitely like that intern
Yeah, yeah,
similarity because it's just you can give it like you kind of need to teach it. You can need to provide information, uh, and it can take like the most many of the basic things from you, and it's also very excited to to actually help people.
even at
Before
4
they
a.m.
get tired. Unlike the interns, it can work 24/7 though.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
And
Aytekin, after
in
two
terms of the
decades.
AI
Oh
agent
yeah, go ahead.
definition, I see them as like if it's something that can actually work without you, like I think that's like an agent. It's just it does things for you while you're not like talking to it. You could talk to it as well, but basically it's just taking care things for you, doing things for you on its own, and then coming back to you and reporting back to you. I think that's the main difference between AI agents and AI chat LLMs and interfaces is that it can actually do things for you. It just you just ask what you need, and then it's working for you. It's kind of like an employee.
Yeah,
Agents are kind of
yeah.
like an employee for you that do things for you. Yeah.
Yeah, it has agency. It can go out and do things in the world and then report back when it's ready or you're ready to check in.
Definitely.
So, I mean, you've been building Jotform for almost 2 decades now. You have, what do you say, 700 employees. You have 25 million users. Clearly, your path of kind of playing the long game, of looking for compound growth has worked out well. We're in this AI world. It's a lot easier to build technology. It's a lot different than, say, 2006 and 2005 when you started. What advice would you have for people that are, maybe they're employees, maybe they're thinking about starting a company, maybe they're thinking about raising venture capital? What advice would you have for someone who's thinking about kind of jumping into this world but starting out now?
I think it's a great time because of the AI. There is just like so many opportunities right now. Just every like uh, I love that Andreessen quote. He said that like the software eating the world. Like in the
Yep.
past, like software was everything was becoming software. Like whatever industry you looked at, you would see that becoming an software. Like cars, like travel agencies or like whatever thing you do, it actually became software. But today, everything is AI is actually eating everything right now. AI is eating the world, and everything is becoming kind of AI. This actually means like there's just like so many opportunities, and if you want to start a startup, I think this is a great time. This is another like one of those times that have like so much opportunities, so many blue oceans, uh, and no one actually built the products. And even if like just like in my case, even when you release a product that you see many competitors, you should just stick with it and just make sure that you keep going. And in our case, like I told about the Woof, for example, what happened was like Woof was actually they got investors, they got investment, and eventually they kind of exited. They sold, and then it was bought by SurveyMonkey, and they stopped improving it, and it just kind of stagnated after that. And even though they were like much bigger than us in the early days, like it was really hard to catch up with them. Uh, Eventually, like being able continuing on this journey, we were able to become the market leader. So I would say don't worry about competitors, just do your own thing. Follow the customers, like they tell you what you need to do. I think I love bootstrapping. I think bootstrapping is the way to go. Because especially like if you want to do this long term, I guess if you see this as a
Hmm.
journey, I don't recommend jumping the ship if you're an employee. It's like right away, because it's just like there's just like so much stress about like just. I would say you have to be really sure about your product idea. Possibly you should release an MVP and see people using it before you jump the ship and go full time. Until that, like I would recommend just doing this as a part time and continuing doing like just until you are really sure. In my case, I was really sure because I've been building forms for so long, and I learned so much from our editors, and I saw the need, and I actually it took me like 5 years to get ready. Yeah, those are the things that I would recommend. I think it's a great time to start a startup today.
Aytekin, thank you so much for coming on the show. Wonderful advice. I can't recommend uh, checking out job forums and listening to this podcast. If you made it to the end, this has been a masterclass on bootstrapping and really building out a quite impressive business over quite a long time.
Thank
Thanks
you
for
for
coming on.
having me.
If you enjoyed that episode, make sure you check out this video right here. And if you really enjoyed it and you listened to the end, take 2 seconds and share the love so someone else might find it by clicking the thumbs up button and subscribing. I appreciate you, and I hope you have a wonderful day. But click that button.